Man, that was cool, huh? I mean, really, that was... I don't want to go too far here, but that was somewhat unexpected. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates that I hope you'll take the time to check out as well. Penguins 5, Oilers 3. 4 of the home team's goals came in a first period blitz. For the evening, Sidney Crosby and Brian Rust each had a goal and 2 assists. Ricard Raquel, Drew O'Connor, and Kevin Hayes with the other goals. Alex Nedeljkovic, 40 saves on 43 shots. He was really good. And yet, I can also tell you that Ned would be the first one to attest that this was a total team victory.
Big confidence booster, I think. Obviously, some great players over there, and they're a good team. They, go to Game 7 last year, played a lot of meaningful hockey, know how to win. So it's, I think that's a good boost for us, especially kind of how we played the last few games. Came out strong. It was probably one of our best periods of the season in the first there, and we responded well in the second. Actually, almost every time after giving up a goal, we responded. Maybe not scoring ourselves, but just playing hard and putting good shifts together. PK responded really well tonight, giving up that one late in the second, but bailing us out there in the third. Late again. So it's not always pretty, but I thought tonight was from top to bottom overall pretty solid night.
And yeah, I know they lost every other game they played to date this month. So I'm not being myopic here. I'm not living excessively in the moment. I'm just going to continue to, maybe you could call it stubbornly, insist that this team is generally playing well. They get let down by a little thing here or there, but their level of play is no different in January, in my eyes, than it's been in December. And in fact, again, just from my own perspective, it's better than it was in December because they've faced a higher degree of competition. Obviously, in a short stretch here, they've seen Florida, Carolina, and now Edmonton. 2 of those 3 teams were in the Stanley Cup final. The other was banging on the door. And you want to be in those games. If you're going to lose them, you want to show yourself that you can, not just hang. That makes it sound like you're avoiding a blowout. The Penguins didn't hang with any of those 3. The Penguins went past regulation with the first 2 and then beat this one in regulation. Was this pretty, as you just heard Ned say? No. The Oilers outshot attempted, which I'm just going to turn into a verb rather than laying out all the Corsies and Fenwicks that go with it. They outshot attempted the Penguins 84-55. But what was neat within that was that the Oilers had only a 10-8 advantage in high danger chances, which tells me that the Penguins did a pretty good job of staying on top of the puck, of not giving up, at least not too many breaks to the Oilers. They're hard to keep from having breaks because they can create their own out of thin air, meaning you can have everybody lined up correctly and they'll just smoke you. They'll just go around the edges. But they handled it. They did what was needed to win that game against that opponent, up to and including recognizing that they were facing Stuart Skinner at the far end. And I'm sorry, I know there's people in Canada who think Skinner's going to be some big help to their national team in the Four Nations tournament next month. Wow. What is the state of goaltending north of the border that he's even on that roster, along with Craig Binnington and Aiden Hill? Anyway, good win, but is it a good team? Do you believe even just a little bit in what it is that you're seeing? And this is where I'm going to ask you again to not necessarily zero in on the results. Do you believe in what you're seeing as it relates to the Penguins' caliber of play. I'm getting there. I don't necessarily believe in their consistency. I believe that they're as capable of emerging for a hockey game the way they did the other night against the Blue Jackets, same as they did exploding in this one. You don't know what you're going to get. But is there talent there? Yeah. Is there speed there? Yes. And I've been saying that for some time now. There's no analysis anywhere that's lazier or more inaccurate than the whole old and slow thing. They're old, not slow. And on top of all of that, they have found a way over the course of the past, I guess you could call it the last 5-6 weeks, this time frame, they've found a way to be just responsible enough that it's allowed them to resume scoring goals. And by the way, they're now 11-5-4 going back to November 27th. And in that period, nobody has scored more than their 74 goals. The Penguins are number one in the NHL in scoring with 74 goals in those 20 games. My friends, if that had been the first 20 games, people would have been writing poetry about this team. In that same context, the power play. Remember the power play last year? The number one killer of the entire season? In that same time, the Penguins have 19 power play goals and a 35.2% success rate that would have you thinking not of these Penguins, not even of these Oilers, but of the Penguins and Oilers from the distant past. That's how prolific they've been. I don't know that we're giving them enough credit for any of the things that I just mentioned. There are problems. There are shortcomings, chiefly the goaltending. Ned put together a wonderful exception last night, but it was the exception for this team's goaltending in general. More is needed all around. But I reserve the right to be impressed with where they are, especially in relation to where they were not so long ago. It's feeling like it has at least a chance to be a good, competitive hockey team there. How's that for reasonable? When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
Abandon ship, Bob. Sell the team. Are you a Pirates fan who is angry or apathetic about our perennial losing baseball team? Do you feel helpless because you don't know how to make a difference? Well, good news. We have something you can do about it. Join our Sell the Team movement. We're a group of passionate fans voicing our frustration and demanding change through billboard campaigns, press outreach, protests, and involvement at local city government meetings. Go to ourteamnothis.com to get involved.
Today's J1Q comes from Steven, and it's not even a question, but I chose it for a reason. I'm going to read it to you in its entirety. DK, I've watched a lot, though not necessarily all, of the Penguins' games this season, and I think this was the best one I'd seen. Ned stood on his head, 87's line was buzzing all night, DOC, Pettersson, everybody really. I like Yessie's game after being waived last week. Everybody was hustling. They had the puck luck. Their forecheck and their PK were really on it. The refs tried to give the game to Edmonton with a few of those calls. I just say do your best, boys. Make Kyle Dubas and the staff really have to think about things at the trade deadline. There's no way he can trade Rickard Rakell when he's this hot with 87 after taking Jake Gensel away last year. Just keep it rolling. I'm obviously not going to answer this because there's not a question, but I'm comfortable sharing with you that I'm okay with people thinking like this. a little bit too often, at least for my taste. This program, led by, my own content, my own thoughts, but also the J1Q portion that comes from you, it arrives so angry and so animated and so get rid of this, get rid of that. Why are they so dumb with this and why are they so dumb with that we will lose the little W's along the way. We'll lose sight of them. We'll lose the proper appreciation for them. Clint Hurdle, when he was the Pirates manager, the last time they were, good, had a saying that he'd repeat constantly to his players before they would leave PNC Park after a win. Because they play so many games, 162 games, and you don't even get a break. You don't get anything. You just show up the next afternoon, sometimes the next morning to play another one. And he would admonish them in a stern tone. Enjoy your victories. Enjoy your victories. And I like that. He would be the one to make sure that he was out in the clubhouse and hearing that music blaring and seeing his guys whoop it up a little bit. In 2015, when the Pirates won 98 games and were seen as a very real, no hype, World Series contender. You win 98 games, you're a contender to win it all in baseball. He kept pushing that. Enjoy your victories. Enjoy them. It's positive reinforcement. It works in anything in life. The Penguins enjoyed this one last night. They were proud of it. They should have been. It stands to reason to me that those who would be the most passionate about the team from the outside would feel somewhat similarly. 2 more big games coming up this weekend, both at PPG Paints Arena, both against opponents that are neck and neck with the Penguins in the Eastern Conference wildcard race, the Senators and the Lightning. I'll be in Baltimore this weekend covering football, and we'll get back together for another one of these shows Monday morning.